You've heard of the 12-step program for Alcoholics Anonymous, right? Well, how can the 12 steps help me with food addiction? Well, in this video, I'm going to be talking about my version of the 12 steps and how they can help you beat your food addiction. Hi, I'm Vanessa McLennan and I help people to lose weight, overcome food addiction and emotional eating disorders by working on the inner you. So keep watching for what my version of the 12 steps are and how they can help you. The first step is admittance, and this is admitting that we are addicted to food or addicted to a particular type of food. It's a huge leap forward for us to actually admit, and a lot of the time admit to ourselves, that we are addicted to something, because it can feel like, we don't have any power anymore. But I think actually it's the other way round. By admitting to ourselves that, look, this is my issue, I'm addicted to it, we're actually starting to empower ourselves because we're going to take control of the issue. So on one hand, it's very liberating and very, empowering to say, right, I'm addicted, I'm standing up, this is what I'm feeling. But on the other hand, comes with it, I think, a lot of shame or embarrassment. So what I say is, look, the first step is always the hardest. Step 2 is believing that there is something greater out there willing to help us. So whether, we believe in a deity figure or not, I think is irrelevant. It's believing that there is, maybe an energy or the collective consciousness or a deity figure or just someone who has been through it. So I think believing that there's somebody out there who can help us, or even, an energy or something out there, I think really helps us to know that we are not on our own. And if somebody else has been through it, then we can sure, get through it as well. So I think it helps us, empower us. Step 3 is turning ourselves over to that higher power. Now, to me, this doesn't mean just sitting back and saying, okay, let the heavens open up and someone help me. This is actually us being willing to, be open and explore what other resources are out there that could help us. Step 4 is doing an inventory of ourselves. Now, this I think is a real toughie, because we have to start looking within and looking at our behaviours and really sort of critiquing our behaviours to be saying, right, what is it that we are doing that is causing us harm? Now, you might know from the outside, well, I'm eating too much sugar, I'm eating too many pizzas, for instance. I know that that is causing me harm. But it's also looking within to perhaps ask ourselves, why are we sabotaging ourselves? Why do we keep repeating these behaviours? And it's trying to learn and be curious about our behaviours as well. So it's a toughie, because we've got to actually perhaps hold a mirror up to ourselves and be truthful about what's within us that's causing this. Now, it's easy to sit here and perhaps think, oh, we're flawed, or there's something wrong with us. But I really don't think that that is the case, or that that is going to help us, because, listen, there is no perfect human being out there. Nobody is eating in a perfect way, all right? There is no perfect way. And so there's nothing for us to, compare ourselves to. There is not some sort of benchmark, all right? So the only benchmark we have is how we feel. So we are not flawed. There is not something wrong with us. It's just looking at ourselves to be like, okay, what is it we perhaps don't like, and what do we want to have happen, or what do we want to change to be able to get to a place where we do like. Step 5 is understanding the nature, the causes of why we eat the way that we do. Now, I love this one. I love it when we have to go inside and just get a bit, a lot more introspective, because it helps us, take ourselves, let's say, out of ourselves, if that makes sense, to look at ourselves objectively, so that we can understand that we are just responding in the way that we perhaps have learnt many, many years ago. So, it helps us realise, look, whatever it is the way that we're eating now, it's not our fault. It's just we have learnt it along the way. And all we want to do now is unlearn it. So look at ourselves and to just go, well, how long have we been eating this way? Perhaps when did I start eating this way? What was happening around the time that I started? Have I been eating this way since childhood? And why did I do it in childhood? What did food make me feel like? Step 6 is we are ready to work on ourselves. So this is now ready to do the work of, really sort of investigating that why we eat the way that we do, and just knowing that, look, there is always a reason for what it is that we're doing. We are just responding emotionally, but actually that emotional response is turning to food. So it's giving ourselves love, compassion and understanding for the way that we do. So this is, once we do this work, it's never black and white, okay? It's a continual work, but it's helping us move through the blocks that we have permanently. So imagine that you've got, a child, and if you have, then, and let's say they're stuck with something, the more that, we're compassionate with them and understanding and encouraging with them, the more likely they are to get their confidence to go through it. So this is what we need to do with ourselves. It's just show ourselves, some love, understanding, to help us move through these blocks. Number 7 is with humility and openness to remove our shortcomings. Right, I don't know if I like this one, because to say to remove our shortcomings is insinuating that there is something wrong with us. I really don't like that. If we were to believe that actually everything is right with us, we just might have a few behaviours that we are not happy with. It's a very different concept to take on. So this is about being mindful then. It's like being really mindful over our behaviours, what foods that we're turning to, the way that we're eating and why we're eating it, and how it's suiting us. And if it's not suiting us, what new habits can we learn? And then also learning in what ways, is it causing us harm? And so how we can be mindful to change the things or behaviours that we perhaps are not happy with. Step 8 is make a list of all the people that we have harmed and then make amends. Ooh, it can be a toughie. So it just begins with writing a list of people that we think that we have harmed and how we can make amends to them. So if it means you personally going up to them and talking and saying sorry, then fantastic, great. If that is too much of a step for you, as it would be sometimes me, it is then just writing down on paper, perhaps us saying sorry. I think the whole purpose of this exercise is not to make it right for other people, it's actually to make it right for ourselves, and also for ourselves to look at our behaviours and in what way they are causing harm to others. Now, what has this got to do with food addiction? Well, I think when we are carrying, a lot of hurt, a lot of resentments, a lot of pain within ourselves, that leads to addiction, generally. Okay, so actually if we can sort of work on that, work on our inner pain, work on what part of us, sort of reflects and projects outwards, then we can take that back within ourselves to be a lot more mindful then, again, of how we're perhaps treating others. Step 9 now is to make direct amends with those people that you have just written down on your list. So I would say only make direct amends with the ones that you want to, the ones that you want to continue to have a good relationship with. The ones that you genuinely want in your life, because you may not want people in your life who are holding resentments and hurts against you, and you perhaps, it's not good really to hold hurts and resentments against others that you want in your life. Letting go of those hurts and those resentments, again, frees you up so that you are no longer then turning to food to sort of heal you. You are learning to do it for yourself, but you're also then letting it go. Step 10 is continue to take a personal inventory and continue to work on our behaviours that cause us harm or affect others. I think for me, this is saying that, the work is continual. We might have had these behaviours since childhood, and these have carried on for, maybe 20, 30 years. We're not going to get rid of behaviours just like that in one session. Oh, I wish we could. It'd be so easy. It takes a lot of years to program ourselves this way, so it's going to take a while to unprogram ourselves. So this is continually being mindful. It is also perhaps the acceptance and realisation that change, if we see it as a continuum, it's never a fixed state between, right, we've done this work, that's it, we've changed, and then nothing ever is going to happen again. if we believe it's a continuum and we are forever making changes, we are going to make changes, but things do come back up again and again. So long as we are continually working on ourselves, we will forever see changes. Step 11 is improving our lives through spirituality, but also being open up through meditation. I think this for me is reminding us that life is not static and that we continually need to do the work. You know, a lot of the time we think, okay, we've done the work, hooray, never have to do it again, we can go back to how we are. And I think if we don't continue working on ourselves, that is what happens. We end up going back, not quite as we are, but we might just sort of, you know, stay static, and that is not life. So by working on ourselves through meditation, it always helps us to build that deeper relationship within ourselves. We become a lot more aware of ourselves, and it's just allowing us to continue to do the inner work. Step 12 is having a spiritual awakening through these 12 steps. This for me is just realizing that we are a small part of something that is so much bigger than ourselves. You know, there are so many people perhaps who have been through this who can help us. You know, what energy or something that's out there that can help us. You know, what can we do that's a ripple effect? You know, we start something, we progress something, and other people or things come into our lives that really help propel us forwards. So continuing to check in ourselves, but also realise what is out there that we can reach out to, and just open up and blow our minds to what is possible.